You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Joining us right now is former Capitol Hill police officer Theortis Butch Jones. Butch, how long did you serve on the force?
For 37 years.
37 years. When you look at this map, go right back to it, folks. When you see this map that I'm showing right now, and you see how deep these folks were able to get into the Capitol, that has to be shocking to someone who knows full well you guys clamp down on anybody and everybody once they hit those grounds if anything crazy goes on.
Yes, sir. I think that was too close. No outer perimeter, no inner perimeter. In the history of the Capitol Police, no one have ever crossed the line at all. So it was appalling to see how easy it was for them to come on the Hill.
We saw the video where they were literally just tossing aside barricades, overrunning these police officers. Some police officers were seen on video waving folks in. That had to also be shocking. And we're hearing, look, we've talked to some members who are saying, look, I don't know if I can even trust the Capitol Hill police force because there are some renegade cops on this force who were in support of what these folks did.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But it's not just the police officers. And I hope they don't use the police officers for when it's more than the police officers. They can't use the policemen for scapegoats, and that's what they're doing. This was above their pay raise. These decisions was above their pay raise. And I think members of Congress has and the Senate, somebody had to give the authority not to bring people in to help. And that's above the pay raise of Capitol Police, the Sergeant-at-Arms, the Chief of Police. This is higher than what we're looking at.
The former police chief's son, who has resigned, he said that he laid fault at the Sergeant-at-Arms, where they did not want the same presence of National Guardsmen on the steps of the U.S. Capitol that we saw when they had the Black Lives Matter protesters. That's the one thing that actually that has happened. Also, Nancy Pelosi demanded and got the resignation of the House Sergeant-at-Arms. The Senate Sergeant-at-Arms has also resigned as well. We also know from Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, he got phone calls from inside the Capitol from Speaker Nancy Pelosi, from Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer, the majority leader, saying send in National Guard. He says 90 minutes before he could get somebody at the Pentagon to answer. Part of the thing people are saying is that Donald Trump, the people who he put in place, they did not want to lift a finger to help because, frankly, they were enjoying seeing what happened. And the Washington Post is reporting that Trump, there were people, Republicans, Kellyanne Conway, Kevin McCarthy and others who were trying to reach Trump saying, you've got to send help. He was preoccupied watching television.
Again, this is above somebody's pay scale. There is no check and balance on Capitol Hill. Congress have no check and balance. Who check out Congress? They police themselves. The Sergeant-at-Arms are they work for Congress. So if they say no, who are they gonna go to? There is no check and balance, and they're gonna make the little guys the guinea pigs. But I guarantee you, as easy as it was, the only office was destroyed was the Democrats. They didn't mess up any of the statues in Statue Hall. You know, it's like somebody said, you can do this, but don't do this. It was too easy. And for them not to have reinforcement, for them not to have Metropolitan or the United States Park Police helping them, something was wrong with that picture.
When you speak of that, even some Republicans have been critical of Congresswoman Lauren Bobert of Colorado because they blasted her on a call yesterday saying, what the hell were you doing tweeting the positioning of Nancy Pelosi when we were under attack? And she says, oh, she didn't mean any harm. They said she was literally saying where Nancy Pelosi was in the Capitol.
That's correct. And Mr. Martin, here's the thing. Somebody knows something. You know, there's no way that you in a situation like that, you got reinforcement. They treated last week like it was a regular work day. No, 2,200 officers was not on work. So something is wrong when management leave their officers out to dry. And the only reason they speaking the way they speaking right now is because members got scared. Members were scared for their life. So yes, they want something done.
Buzzfeed had an article where a couple of black officers on the force talked about being called the N-word, talked about what they saw took place, and they were shocked and stunned as well. And they said, look, I mean, you had white supremacists who were part of this attempted coup d'etat.
This is not the first word. This is not the first time black officers on Capitol Hill have been mistreated or been called by the N-word. When I started on the police department, the N-word was usually being used by calling you boy. Meant the same thing, but still, racism and discrimination is well known on Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill has been known for years to be the last plantation, the good old boy system. So when you have that, unless they have a check and balance, this has been going on for years, and this was not planned for a couple of weeks. This has been in the plan for a while for it to go as smooth as it went.
To your point, this is a video I'm playing right now that was in that Buzzfeed article showing as them coming into the U.S. Capitol. That is Eugene Goodman right there, the officer. We discussed him the other day, and as they were approaching, he knew it was just him, and he was the last line of defense. We showed it yesterday how he picked the stick up. When he comes up these steps, he's going to look. He's calling for his support. He's going to look to his left because that's where that was the entry to the U.S. Senate floor. We had a shortened version yesterday. This is the longer video. When he gets to the top of the steps, he's going to look over his shoulder. If he did not lead them away right here, he looked down the hallway. If he did not lead them away, they were literally within seconds of being able to attack members of the United States Senate. We had Congresswoman Maxine Waters on the show. She said point blank that if she had not left the Capitol early, there's no doubt she would have been targeted and potentially killed by these protesters.
Again, I am not surprised. And it's sadly to say the police officers have always been there for Congress. The sad part is Congress have not been there for the police officers. 9/11, they were there. During the anthrax, they were there. When they had demonstrations, they were there. When they was at the baseball field and the police officers, 2 black police officers saved the congressman, they were so grateful, but they left them naked last Wednesday when they had this demonstration. Somebody knew what was going on.
This is a quote from that BuzzFeed article from one of these black police officers. That was a heavily trained group of militia terrorists that attacked us. They had radios. We found them. They had two-way communicators and earpieces. They had bear spray. They had flashbangs. They were prepared. They strategically put 2 IEDs, pipe bombs, in 2 different locations. These guys were military trained. A lot of them were former military, the officer said. The officers even described coming face to face with police officers from across the country in the mob. He said some of them flashed their badges, telling him to let them through and trying to explain that this was all part of a movement that was supposed to help. Quote, you have the nerve to be holding a Blue Lives Matter flag and you are out there fucking us up. One guy pulled out his badge and said, we're doing this for you. Another guy had his badge, so I was like, well, you got to be kidding.
Mr. Martin, I'm surprised that people are surprised. This has been going on for years. And for all of a sudden, people are surprised. If that had been Black Lives Matter, Louis Farrakhan, they wouldn't even got to the steps. They wouldn't have got past 4th Street in Southwest, on the Southwest, going to the Capitol. Because this was a white organization demonstration, they did not prepare like they would if it was a black organization. And yes, I think it was still too easy.
Well, you're absolutely right. I can tell you when Jamal Bryant, Jeff Johnson, and I, when we brought 200 brothers to Capitol Hill to stand up for Loretta Lynch, trust me, and we were met at the top of the steps by Congresswoman Joyce Beatty and Congressman Andre Carson. It was a hell of a whole lot of Capitol Hill cops who came out of nowhere for 200 black men who were there, very peaceful, just to speak up for Loretta Lynch.
You know, just before I forget, I want to say I take my hat off to the mayor of D.C. Can you imagine if she did not tell Black Lives stay at home? There would have been a bloodbath out there. A lot of people could have got hurt if the mayor of the District of Columbia did not tell Black Lives Matter to stay at home. And I remember when Farrakhan came up to the Hill with 4 gentlemen, just 4. They held the whole department over until he left the Hill. Even they had a SWAT team in the garage. And it was an insult to every black officer because Farrakhan wasn't like that.
All of that for Farrakhan and 4 guys with him.
I'm telling you, they held the whole department, the House side, the Senate side, the Capitol side, the PD, and SWAT. They held them for at least 2 hours over until he left the building.
Wow. What do you think should happen next?
Well, you know, the president said that the people that was involved, they should be treated the same way he thought people should be treated if they take down the statues, that they should get 10 years. I think they should get some serious time. I think they should look at Congress, and it should be an investigation, a off the hill investigation, not members of Congress, but people outside a commission to find out what went wrong, because our democracy was challenged on last Wednesday.
Theortis Butch Jones spent nearly 40 years as a Capitol Hill police officer. Sir, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for your insight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.